Pro Football Hall of Famer, the GOAT, greatest of all time. There's no question about it. He's Jim Brown here on the show. How are you, Jim?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm better for talking to you and you having you on the show. What is Dan Rooney's legacy in your estimation, Jim?
It's unbelievable. He is the father of the National Football League diversity program, the Rooney Rule. He's always been a gentleman. He's been brilliant in his choosing of coaches. I think he's only had 3 in the last 50 years. And he's just a good human being that have been great for all of us.
Well, how do you think the Rooney Rule has worked, Jim? What would the NFL look like without the Rooney Rule?
Well, that's like a trick question. The intent is fantastic. The execution of it doesn't always work because there's a freedom of choice thing that I believe in. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard to legislate that kind of thing. But it has called attention to diversity. It has produced some great things. But if you look at the situation right now, we don't have that much penetration as far as African Americans in the league.
Did you ever talk with Mr. Rooney, Jim, about the execution of the Rooney Rule and his thoughts on it?
Well, I always talk to John Wooten, mm-hmm. who is a great part of that, and John always keeps me informed. And the Rooney Rule really helped us, and it was something that you had to keep fighting to make work right. And they've always tried to do that, so the results might not be as great as intent.
Jim Brown, Pro Football Hall of Famer, joining me here for a few minutes on the passing of Dan Rooney. And then Rooney has been credited in certain ways as being the one who kept the light on for Cleveland after the Browns left for Baltimore. What can you tell me about that, Jim? Was he as integral as I'm hearing about the Browns' return to Cleveland?
Yes, I think so, because the owners, you have the influential owners and you have the smaller owners, and the Rooneys are so respected. Mr. Rooney is so respected that he could influence a lot of things, and he definitely wanted Cleveland to have a team. There's no doubt about it. Pittsburgh and Cleveland has always been great.
Yeah, and then so what are your recollections of Dan Rooney while you were playing in the National Football League, Jim?
He was an exceptional human being. By my standards, and I was always trying to fight for freedom, equality, and justice. And I looked at what he did, the coach that he hired and the circumstances that he did it under, being able to create the Rooney Rule, having his players love him, the choice of players, the competitive way that Pittsburgh was able to compete. All of these things I noticed and had respect for.
And lastly, what do you think his legacy is going to be? That years from now, I've got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. What do you think they're going to know about Dan Rooney years from now?
One of the greatest owners that ever lived and one of the greatest human beings.
Thank you, Jim. I know you only have a few moments of time that you stepped out of a meeting. I appreciate you calling in. But before I let you go, do you have 2 cents on who you think the Browns should take first overall in a couple weeks in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. Who's
defensive end. Pass rushing genius.
So you want the pass rusher, not the QB?
No, I want the pass rusher. We can get a quarterback.
Okay. So have you met Myles Garrett? Have you checked him out at all?
Yes, I have.
What do you think?
He's cocky, but I like it.
Terrific. Jim, you take care. I'd love to have you in studio when you're free.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. That's Jim Brown.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.